Hey friends, my name is Megan, and if you're new to my channel, welcome to Mustard Seed Homesteading. What we're gonna do is start in the garage as we have every week, and I'm gonna show you my seedlings because I want to be able to show you the progress of them from week to week because we're going for the spring garden as well as the summer garden. Plus, we're gonna go harvest a few more turnips, and I'm gonna show you some of the starts that we planted up there yesterday. So let's get started. Well, before we pop into the garage, these are my last two trays. If you've been following me, I had a whole bunch of trays out here and a few I had to throw away, but a lot of them we planted back there that I'm going to show you in a little bit. And this is the last leftover that we have. All right, I'm going to try to stay focused because there's a lot going on in here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the top. So here are all the onions. I finally have the domes off, and so this week I'm going to be taking these out. I'm going to be in here for quite a bit this week trying to separate. This right here is full of onions and snapdragons. Let me take it down so I can show you. All right, here are all the onions as well as shallots and a few leeks. They just have grown tremendously. So as I said before, I'm going to be in the garage quite a bit doing separating. And then look at how much the snapdragons grew. They're so beautiful. Now I did buy some new snapdragons, so I am looking forward to seeing the colors of those. And then look at how beautiful the rosemary is. That just, it smells lovely. So I have this tray of onions as well as those onions on top. And since we're talking about onions, I do want to show you these before I finish the shelving units. I did go ahead and purchase some from Dixondale Farms just to be safe because I do love to grow onions. And so what I did was I bought shallots and I bought intermediate onions and I bought short day onions. Now here's the reason why I did that. I live in zone 8B in central Alabama and I could go either intermediate or short day. So this year what I'm going to do is I'm going to experiment and see which one does better. They may both do very well, but if one does better than the other, I may just stick with that moving forward so that I know, you know, with my zone and climate, if the short day or the intermediate does better. And then shallots I've never grown, so this is going to be my first year growing them, but don't they look so pretty? What I did was I bought the sample, so that's why you see 3 different colors. I wanted to try a bunch of different types of onions. And then look at the tomatoes. They have really, really, really overgrown to the point where they're falling over. Now, thankfully, tomatoes are some of the most forgiving seedlings. I actually, one of my very first videos was potting tomato seedlings. I might do another video of it because they're so easy to pot. But you can see I already started potting them. Some are right here and some are on that new seed shelf over there, which I'm going to show you in a little bit here. But you can see how tall they are here, and then as we get down here, I plant them much deeper into the pot, and then I leave a little bit of space up top so that as it continues to grow, I can add some more soil until they're ready to be planted out. And these 2 trays are all the cool weather crops that we planted together. These are doing amazing, and I also need to separate these as well. Now, I did share the last video that I bought new seed starting trays. I shared them. There are some that are really tiny and small, kind of like this one. You can see that one. I think this is the 200 one. I put the dill in that one. And what I'm going to probably do moving forward is get the smaller trays, or you know, the trays that have the smaller little potholes, and plant those in there, just because it would save me a lot of time and having to separate or cut seedlings. I just don't have the heart to cut these, and just, I mean, I may have to. I just don't like doing that. So we're going to just separate these trays, and then next time I'm going to experiment and try to do something different just to conserve my time and be more efficient. And this next tray on the next shelf is all the basil and the calendulas and flowers that we planted together. Let me see if I can pull this out so you can see the color of the red rhubarb. Look at how beautiful that is. Do you see that red rhubarb color? It's such a beautiful color when it is fully grown. And these all have to get separated. So I have a lot of work ahead of me in this garage. And as I shared earlier, these are my tomatoes that I up-potted. And then this tray is all the dill. I'm not sure if you had seen my last video, but they were just all over the place. So I popped them in here individually, which was a lot of work. Again, I'm learning every year. I'm learning new things and how to be more efficient. And I think next time, especially for herbs or flowers, I'm gonna start in these little trays so that it's, you know, just one per little pot, and then pop it out without having to separate everything. Some of the dill looks like it's not making it. Some of it looks like it's fine, but I will say sometimes dill acts like it's not gonna make it, and then they do, and so I'll just have to keep an eye on them. And dill, for the most part, is not really hard to grow. So if I have to pop a seed or two back in one of these trays or in the garden, I'll just do that. And here's more tomato seedlings that were up-potted. And then you guys, look at all those. I'm not gonna open the sweet potato because they have aphids, but look at how much it's grown. I've already taken a few. This one's taken a little bit longer. Let me get rid of this. Sometimes I just do it. You could see a few of them in there. But I'm not going to take this off because the aphids are in there and I don't want them to jump on the tomato seedlings. But these are now starting to grow very well. If you're new here, I'm trying to grow sweet potato slips. I've done it before, but this method is usually faster for me. And so I put a heat pad under it and a dome. And as soon as I did that, they started growing. I just feel like I'm a little bit late. But that's okay. I did order some sweet potato slips too. So either way, hopefully I will have some sweet potatoes at the end of the summer. And these two trays down here are my peppers. Now, if you saw my tour last week, the leaves were starting to look burnt. I don't know if you can see that right there. Let me see if I can get a close up. Burn, and some of them were curling. And my understanding is if they're overwatered or the light is too close, this can happen. And as soon as I took them away from the light and I backed off with the water, not that I was watering them every day, but I was watering them quite a bit, they started doing better. Some of them are still kind of curled, but I'm not too concerned. For the most part, I do pretty well with peppers, but I did have to move them onto the ground so that they didn't have too much light. All right, now we're gonna go to the other side, but I have to go this way because there's just too much. So these are my overwinter pepper plants. I've shared these before. I leave these in the garage. I think these are 2 jalapenos. I wanna say I have 3 poblanos and then 2 bell peppers. And then this is my gym, you guys. Yes, I do work out. I think it's very important and it makes me feel better. So I have to take off my shoes, so excuse me to take off my shoes because I don't like shoes on my mat. Okay, so here's my other seed starting shelf unit. I felt like I needed one more because I didn't have enough room, you guys. You can never have too many seed starting shelves, right? So this will probably more than likely be full next week. Oh, there's my other 2 overwinter pepper plants. This will probably more than likely be full next week when you see the tour. I have more tomato seedlings that I up-potted here. And this is the next tray. I have to fill that one because there's just so many of them. And then my ginger and my turmeric are up there. I have to take that down though. So here is my other shelving unit. And what I did, see, this one is a 24-inch depth and this one is an 18. So the difference is my trays stick out a smidgen on the 18-inch, but it doesn't bother me. I needed something to fit this little bit of space. Plus it was at Costco for $100. So I'm like, we just got this one. And it is the same length as that shelving unit. This one's a little bit shorter, but the depth of this one is the same. So these both are 18-inch in depth, and the one over there is a 24-inch in depth. And then all of these are 72 inches in height. So that was very important. Obviously it has to be very important because it'll hit my garage. So we've got another unit, and then let's go take a look at these seedlings, because these we started a little while back as well. This is a lot of lettuces and trying to remember. Oh, some root crops. Now, I know root crops are really meant to just stick in the ground, but unfortunately, and this is the same with some of my snap peas, these little millipedes will eat my seed and they just won't grow. So I decided this year, since I got these smaller pot trays, if that's what you call them, I think they're called pot trays, I figured what I'll do is start them in here and then pop them out and put them into the garden, and that I had a better chance at getting root crops, because the last time I put seed out there, they were just eaten up and nothing happened. So I'm like, well, let me try something. And then down here, oh, those are my tomato Martha F1s that I overwintered. I had really good success last year, so I went ahead and did it again. And then this is the delicata squash. It's grown bigger. I got to separate these two. And then these are the tomato bush seedlings that I shared from the Dollar Tree. Those are doing very well too. They're called seed starting trays. I call them little pots because of the different sizes. By the way, here are all the many different sizes that I did purchase. I did share this last week, but this one is the 200. I got a 128, 72, and these are 50. So I'm really happy I bought these, and then those are the square ones. I'm really happy I got these seed starting trays so that I can, like I said, save space but be a lot more efficient with my time. And then before we go out to the garden, I do want to mention, hopefully next week, or maybe in a couple weeks, it just depends on when my husband can put it together, I've been using a plastic table with a tarp over it just to protect the plastic from getting really dirty. But I just purchased a silver steel table with rollers and a shelf, because I really need a good working table that I can roll around and have extra storage. I've just made this whole little section of my garage, my garden slash seed starting section, and I need as much space as possible. So hopefully you guys will see that in the next week or a couple weeks. And here are all the green stalks in the driveway. I'm going to kind of just show you what's going on before we go in the very back. Now, the reason you see all of these on the ground is because I'm going to be filling them with potting soil and then putting a lot of those onion starts that you saw in the garage. So I have them all out. The way I like to do this is I'll make a circle. So this is the lower one, and then it kind of just staggers up. And then that way I can just, I know that this is the whole green stalk, and then I can stack them on top of each other. That has just worked well for me. So that's why you see them kind of in circles pretty much, so that I know that those are together. And then I can walk right here in the middle, and then I have access to all of them when I need to. And then I can stack them and put them together. And I did grab these two towers that were back there on my patio, because I'm going to be planting the potato seed starts in there. Everything's got to get planted this week. It's going to be very busy, as well as the next couple of weeks, with planting onions, potatoes, separating seedlings. It's going to be a lot. But I wanted to show you, look at the broccoli, you guys. It's already starting to grow more than it did last week. And then this one over here too. Let me see. It's got a little, I don't know if you can see it, I don't want to force it, but it's growing in there, and I'm really excited to see it. They look so healthy in these bags. These bags have done really good. I've had potatoes in there, I've had cucamelons in there, and for whatever reason, it might be because of the depth of the bag, but they're all doing really well. They all do very well, I mean. And then that one's growing too. So I'm really, really happy. A lot of the broccoli is doing phenomenal. I'm going to show you this over here too. And then you guys, look at the broccoli and the green stalk. Since last week, these have grown so massive and so beautiful. I don't see too many heads, but I do see the leaves forming to make a head. But this is doing amazing. And the kale is doing great too. We have a lot more leaves. I'm not gonna harvest these today. I don't need them at the very moment. I'm just gonna let them grow a little bit more. But as I said before, the GREENSTALK does very, very well for me with broccoli. And you wanna grow the broccoli in the original, which is the 10-inch deep pockets. This is the leaf, this is 7 inches. And the kale does very well in here. So I'm really happy to see the broccoli doing well. Remember when it was so dramatic and wilty? Now it's doing so much better. And there's all the garlic, that's doing very well. And then unfortunately, some of the garlic on the very top didn't make it. I think it might have just too much rain, even though I have straw around it. So I'll probably maybe add some lettuces before the hot summer comes, just to fill it out and have some space for something. Now, I did go ahead and I did a lot of cleaning last week just to get ready for spring. So these are my asparagus plants. I just cut off the dead tops of those, not the roots, because you don't want to mess with the roots. It's funny though, when I did cut them off, because we had such a burst of warm weather, there was a few asparagus spears that did come up and they were all wet and soggy, so I had to pull those out. And I went over here too, and I cleaned up the strawberry tower because there was a lot of dead leaves, just to kind of get ready for the springtime, because I'm going to be so busy in the garage. And I moved everything in this driveway and I swept the leaves. And then of course we had major gusts of wind, and now a lot of the leaves went back behind there. So it doesn't even look like I cleaned a whole lot, but I did, just to get ready. So now let's go up to the back of the garden, because I want to show you what I planted and what's been going on back there. All right, friends, I'm gonna start from this end and I'm gonna try to stay focused, because due to the lighting outside, it's not only cloudy, but it is getting later and I don't want to lose you all. But there's just so much going on and I'm excited to share with you all. So this first bed is all the broccoli. Look at the difference, you guys, since last week. And I believe most of these, if I remember, because I know I have it on my chart, because I do have, oh, look at my little stickies out here, how funny. This is the Romanesco broccoli. So look at that, how funny. This was from my carrots. Okay, anyways, moving on. Look at how beautiful and lush. This is my first time growing Romanesco, so I'm really hoping that these grow out, because they look like a lot of fun. And then look at all the peas. Look at, they're doing really good. So these are the sugar ants. I'm hoping that we have no more freezes. We're not out of the possibility of getting freezes, so I still have to be very careful. That's why you still see the frost covers, because if for some reason we do have a frost, that's why I have it halfway open. So it still allows the breeze, the sun, and any rain. But if I need to come out here, I can just cover it real quick without having to put the whole cover over all the hoops. And again, what I'm doing, I did this yesterday. I came through the garden and I plucked out plants that looked like they weren't going to make it, and then put in some backups that I had, some extra plants. Because technically this is still my winter garden, because the last frost date has not passed yet, even though we haven't hit freezing temperatures. I mean, the nights get cooler still, like pretty cool, but nothing very severe. But they all look really good. Now this one I believe is a cabbage. And then these two are cabbages right here. And then the broccolis. Now I am going to be adding, I had mentioned this last week from the other bed over there, but because I have so many onions and they did so well in this bed with the broccoli and cauliflower last year, I am going to probably plant small onions on each corner and see if that makes a difference with any aphids. While it helped last year with aphids. I'm gonna see if it does even better if I planted them in each corner. You can see the little snap peas growing. I do think that it helps having this frost cover here. When we did have cold temperatures for the germination, I think that did help. And this bed, I'm really happy to see how well all the broccoli is doing. Just like last week, they had finally gotten some water, and I do think that the cooler temperatures have helped a ton with a little bit of sun, and everything's looking extremely healthy. So we do have some cabbages. I want to say, no, actually I take that back. These are all broccolis. They're just different kind of broccolis. Now there is two, I think it's this one, I'm sorry, three. I did put two in one square. You're really supposed to just put one, but I had extra, and as you know, I love to experiment, so I'm gonna see how they do. They may not do well. I may just get little teeny heads, or I'll just harvest the leaves because I do love broccoli leaves too. But so far they're doing really well, and I'm really happy to see everything flourishing very good. And you can see the little peas back here too. They are all, look at them, they're all growing. That makes me happy. It makes my heart happy to see them. And then once these are done, the cucumbers are going to be in there. Now this bed is one of the beds that I plucked a few things out and replanted some starts. So for instance, I had put a cabbage here, more stonehead cabbage starts right here, as well as over here I put a stonehead cabbage there too, and on this corner as well. Now this one is doing very good. I'm happy to see that. A lot of the Swiss chard has been growing quite a bit. That makes me very happy. That red, the magenta red, the ruby red is so pretty. I get the ruby red and the magenta mixed up, but they're both gorgeous colors. So we'll see what happens. This is technically, like I said, this is still the winter garden, and I have a lot of seed starts in the garage, as you saw. So if nothing seems to do well, or it's just not growing, I'm just gonna pluck it out and then put in the new starts that I am doing in the garage. And this bed on the other side of that bed, same as the other side. I had just plucked a few things out and replaced them with some other plants. Like I'd put a romaine lettuce here, and I want to say, oh, I put a red sale lettuce right here. That's a gorgeous lettuce, very pretty lettuce. And then I want to say I did add another stonehead cabbage. I've been really impressed with the stonehead cabbages so far, so I've been putting those in, as well as the early Jersey Wakefield cabbage. But I definitely do have a snail issue. I did buy some snail bait. I haven't put it out yet, but I will be putting it out. And the same over here, you can see all the snap peas are growing. Those are the telephone peas. These get very long on the trellis. And then I didn't get to show you on the other side. Let me show you those snap peas. Look at how long they grow. They were not that long last week. Those grew fast. And I want to say this one is the, hold on. Those are the sugar magnolia snap peas. I've never grown them before, so I'm hoping they're one of my favorites because I love snap peas. I love trying different varieties, and I'm hoping that I'll like them. They were very pretty picture-wise, so we'll have to see how they grow. All right, friends, we are gonna pick the rest of these turnips, but before we do that, real quick, you guys, look at the broccoli. It's so pretty. It's growing so large. I cannot wait to harvest. Like I said, every week I can't wait to harvest this with you. So this one's doing very well. A lot of my other starts look like they're growing really slow. So again, if they don't do nothing, they're out of here, and I'm gonna put new starts. That's just the way that I do things in this garden. If you're not growing, you're out of here. But let's go ahead and grab these turnips. Now, if you're new, I've never grown turnips before. I put them on the edges of my bed, and I don't think I'm gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna do that again because I didn't like the way they grew on the edges, but for my first time, this isn't too bad. Now, part of the reason I want to harvest these is because they're just ready to be harvested, but I really want to start getting these beds ready. Oh, that one's hard. That one's a little hard to pull out. This one's cute, not too bad. But I want to start getting these beds ready for the spring garden and see, you know, what's gonna, obviously the starts that I have in here, what's gonna stay and what's gonna go, and then kind of add some fresh soil in here before the spring garden. Cute. Not too bad. Okay, last one. This one's kind of small. Love it. Over in these bags, I haven't really shared these too much, but I switched some of this up and I put 3 heads of lettuces. So what I did, except this one I'm gonna experiment with 5 romaine. So I have 5 romaines in here. I have 1 romaine and 2 red sails. And then these are 3 red sails and these are also 3 red sails. But look at how beautiful they look. So the idea is to be able to come out here and harvest some lettuce leaves, just come right up the stairs to from my kitchen and come and harvest some lettuce leaves. That's my hope anyways. And because I have so many onions, you guys are probably gonna see me stick onions in so many spots. I'm probably gonna stick them around the lettuces here just because I have so many. So I'm happy with these. And then the Brussels sprouts, you guys, so far, I haven't seen a whole lot, and there's actually some that kind of look like a cabbage to me, but I do want to show you a few that looks like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a good view of it. Let me check. I'm going to show you because there's some that look like they're growing, some Brussels sprouts, but they're super tiny. Hold on, let me give you a close-up. I don't know, can you see those down there? So some of them have that. My hope is that they grow. I have struggled with growing Brussels sprouts. This is my second attempt at growing them. Last year, they didn't grow very well, but I did have like these really tiny miniature Brussels sprouts, but there wasn't a whole lot. So as I said, I hope that I get something this year. I mean, everything looks so lush and beautiful. It's just not growing the Brussels sprouts. I have fertilized, kept them watered and well taken care of. You can see the greens are beautiful. So we'll just have to see. This bed is also doing really well. Now for a while, the red Russian kale was kind of getting me a little bit concerned because they looked like they weren't growing. Now they look like they're kind of growing. So that does make me happy to see. But they don't start doing something, they're gonna be plucked up out of here. And then I'll just have to put something different. But the broccoli is doing really well, as always. Very happy with them. I did fertilize this a while back to help with the purpling. I still do see a little bit of purpling. So I'll have to keep an eye on that. I may have to fertilize one more time soon. But overall, really well. And the kale is doing really good on the ends here. I've never planted these on the ends, but I do like them here. And more than likely, I'll be sticking onions or shallots in here as well. Now for the very back, if you've been following me at all, you would know that back here was major squirrel damage a couple months ago, and I just haven't planted, but recently in the last couple weeks to a month I have. And while the kale is doing really well in the buckets, I mean, some of them look like they're not growing fast enough, although they are starting to grow. I'm starting to see quite a bit of growth. These are doing really good. Back here though, I just replanted everything, and literally the next day some of them were eaten. So I know that my hubby wants to reposition these sensors to get every angle. I do think that these help. They're not supposed to be in the bags or my beds, but I haven't had, or my husband hasn't had time to put them up for me. But I think because they weren't angled right, some of the squirrels got away with eating stuff. So yeah. I'm going to show you what I planted real quick, and I'm going to show you what they ate. So I did have some kale in here that just didn't look like it was doing anything. So I took it out and I stuck in 2 kale plants per bag because these are 5-gallon bags. And I want to see how well they do. I just had a lot of starts, so I figured I'd just put them in here. And then most of these are broccoli as well as some kale. And I don't think, this actually might be a cabbage. Yes, that is a cabbage. Some of the cauliflower didn't do very well, so I plucked those out. I did keep 2 of them. These are the self-blanching cauliflower. I've never grown these before. So far, these look like they're surviving from the winter. We'll see what happens though. So these are all planted. And then this next one is pretty much all cabbages. Thankfully, I mean, except for this one, this is lavender. Thankfully, they haven't gotten to these, but I just planted these and I'm hoping I can get some cabbages back here. I mean, listen, I know being right by the woods is a hit or miss, but I have the space, and if I could try to keep them away, I want to be able to grow as much as I can back here. So the same with here. Now look at, I just planted these and they ate the tops. They just ate the tops. They are little boogers, man. Anyways, you do what you can, right? Thankfully my beds are okay. But these are pretty much all cabbages. And then over here as well are cabbages and some Swiss chard. Now some of the Swiss chard's doing good, some of them didn't, so I added some broccoli and cabbages. Most of these are broccoli and cabbages back here, and some kale. I did want to show you this mammoth red rock. The color is gorgeous. I do hope I get a cabbage head from this, but some of them, they ate up. There's just really nothing I could do about it, but so this is why I always have a lot of backup starts, because it is a hit or miss when it comes to the squirrels or pests or any type of rodents. And then this one I just planted, you guys, and these are all broccoli. Now I know I kind of stuck in a lot in one bag. I think this is which one is this? This is a 10-gallon, so I figured I'd just stuff them in there, but they ate all the tops. You wouldn't know anything is in here. They ate the top. So and they're messy. They eat and then they leave their little leftovers behind. So we'll see. They didn't touch this one. They didn't touch this kale. So we'll just have to keep an eye on stuff. But either way, I'm going to try to keep these bags and buckets planted with something and keep an eye on the garden, because it would be nice to harvest a lot of kale and cabbages and broccoli back here. I do want to show you the stonehead cabbage though in the really large bag. So this is my aisle of 25-gallon grow bags. I had tomatoes in here in the summer. I may do tomatoes again, I'm not really sure. But this stonehead is really impressing me. So I'm really happy to see that this is growing. This is my only 1 kilo slow bulk Napa cabbage. We'll see if anything comes of it. And then I did end up refilling a lot of these bags with cabbages. All right, friends, let's go ahead and see what we harvested today. So we got ourselves some more turnips. I'm really happy with these. This is my first time, as I shared in previous videos, of harvesting or growing turnips. And while I wouldn't put it on the outer edges of my bags, I was trying to conserve space. I think they could have grown bigger if I had put them just within the square. But overall, I'm really happy with my first time growing turnips. So very happy with the harvest today. So friends, thanks so much for stopping by, and I always look forward to seeing you guys next time. And always remember, friends, and never forget this: be encouraged, stay encouraged, and always stay inspired. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.